Now, today we'll discuss on evaporative condenser. In the previous lecture video, we already discussed on what is the condenser and what are the different types of condenser, okay, and the working principle also. We know that the condenser basically are three types, basically air cooled condenser, water cooled condenser, and evaporative condenser that are basically used in RAC or HVAC system. Okay, as you know that air cooled, basically the condensing medium was the air, and in case of water cooled, the condensing medium was water. And air cooled and water cooled condenser, they are separately divided in various categories. Okay, so you already on these topics, and what is HRF and what are the factors that affect actually condenser capacity, and what are the working principle of condenser. Now today we'll discuss on evaporative condenser. It's one type of condenser, obviously that in one type of condenser, but these are construction features are different, like in between, other than air cooled condenser and water cooled condenser. Okay, now as you see that this is the construction features of evaporative condenser, in which what you see that sorry, suppose this is a structure in which the pump is here. Okay, now pump connection is connected with some spray header. You can say this is connected with the pipes in the spray header, and spray header is connected with the spray nozzle. Okay, and this is the condenser coil, uh, condenser coil, and this is the sump where the water is reserved here. Okay, and this is the connection pipe through which water supply. So this is this is the portion in which the air sucks from the atmosphere. Okay, so and this is the fan, and this is the eliminator. So this is basic parts of an evaporative condenser, and there are several each and individual some function are there. So a pump, spray nozzle, spray header, eliminator, fan, sump, and this is the line for make up water. Okay, pipeline. So these are the constructions, and as the name suggests, actually the evaporative condenser. Now in evaporative condenser, it's used air and water both as condensing medium. In case of air cooled condenser and water cooled condenser, air as the condensing medium is air cooled condenser, and in case of water cooled condenser, water used as a condensing medium, as we know in the previous class. But in case of evaporative condenser, both use as a condensing medium, air and as well as water. Okay, and it's a combination of cooling tower. It's a combination of cooling tower and water cooled condensers. It's a combination of cooling tower and water cooled condenser. Now, and this condenser actually performed, and it actually in this operation, what happens in the water cooled, in case of evaporative condenser, in its operation, the water is pumped, okay, from the sump. The water is pumped from the sump to a spray header, which is called, this is a spray header, and spray header, and sprayed through the spray nozzle and over the condenser coil. So this is the condenser coil, you know that, and in which the hot vapor refrigerant flows through this pipe, and this condenser coil is basically made of either copper or it's sometimes also aluminum, but copper is the best due to several factors are there. So this, in this coil, the hot vapor refrigerant comes or flow to this, and when the water, cooling waters is sprayed through the spray nozzle, then the water spray is coming or contact with the hot vapor refrigerant, which or the condenser tube, or outer surface of the condenser tube where the hot vapor refrigerant flows. So this is the condition, is the vapor refrigerant condition is hot, and this is the cooled water. So this cooled water is contacted with the outer surface of the condenser coil. Okay, and after, when the compressor is passing, and when the and after that, that liquid refrigerant exit from the condenser coil. But the heat transfer from the refrigerant, okay, the heat transfer from the refrigerant, because as it contact with the spray nozzle, as it contact with the spray water with the condenser coil, the heat transfer will be takes place from the refrigerant through the condensing tube walls and into the water. Okay, that is weighted actually the outside surface of the tube. So this is the condenser tube is a weighted surface, and they reject heat from the condenser coiled to outer surfaces. Okay, and at the same time, when it happens at the same time, the a fan draws air. A fan draws air from the bottom side of the condenser. So basically this is the bottom side. From the bottom side of the condenser, the a fan basically is established here, and they draws the air from the bottom side of the condenser and discharged out at the top of the condenser, and the air causes the water from the surface of the condenser coil to evaporate and absorb the latent heat of evaporation from the remaining water to cool it. um, though most of the cooling takes place either by evaporation, or the air can also absorb some sensible heat from the water when it is flows actually, since the heat for vaporization, the water is taken from the refrigerant. Therefore the vapor refrigerant condense and into a liquid refrigerant. Okay, so this is the main working principle of evaporative condenser. And the actually cold water that drops down into a sump due to the cooling effect or the condenser, the cold water that drops down into a sump is recirculated, because this is a recirculating process, because of the recirculation takes place. And in order to make up the deficiency the caused by the evaporated water, additional water is supplied to the sump, and there are some float valve are there a float valve are there to in the sump controls the makeup supply. Okay, and the eliminator, so this is the eliminator. Okay, this eliminator, what is the function of eliminator? Actually this eliminator basically provided above the spray header, obviously, and you know that this is the spray header, so this is basically above the spray header, and to stop the particle water escaping from the along with the discharged air, because of the when the fan air draws the air from the condenser coil. So there are chances to some elimination of the some chances to stop some chances to water escape along with the discharged air. Okay, so this is the eliminator part. So this is basically reduce. The main function is that to stop particle of water escaping along the discharged air. Okay, this is the main function of evaporative condenser. And the main difference between that in case of air cooled, water cooled and evaporative condenser is that air cooled condenser condensing medium was air. In case of water cooled, the condensing medium was water. And in between, but in case of evaporative condenser, both air and water both are basically condensing medium. And this is basically the most effective condenser, you can say that, because it's a combination of cooling tower effect as well as the water cooled condenser effect. But some complexity or some there is some complexity as well as cost involved are there, but the efficiency is much more than the other, means air cooled and water cooled condenser. Okay, and basically in this condenser main fundamental principle is that the evaporation, that's why its name is evaporative condenser. The evaporation takes place by means of or by flowing through the normal air as well as the water spray, so that it can form evaporation and it can evaporate through from hot vapor refrigerant to liquid refrigerant. Okay, so that's why it is called evaporative condenser, and these are the construction features. Okay, thank you very much for listening and watching me. Goodbye.